Now, I am not in my home theater here today. I'm actually going to be making my way down to the Record Exchange, which I did a video on a few months ago. I'll have that linked up in the corner. But here today, I'm headed down there because I have a bunch of trade-ins and various things I need to kind of offload. And Record Exchange is one of the best places to go for audio equipment and things like that to, sell your items. And so that's what I'm doing here today. I'm just getting ready to leave here this morning from my house. And I do have my entire hatch filled up with items to take down there to Record Exchange. So why don't you join me on a trip down to Record Exchange and just kind of see the other side of the secondhand home theater channel where I kind of buy equipment and trade stuff in. So yeah, let's get on our way. So here we are. We have made it to the Record Exchange. Now the only thing left to do is to unload all my stuff I've got in the back of my car, take it inside, and see how much store credit they're going to give me to add to my like $400 that I already have here in store credit, and go inside and go on kind of a lookout for a few key little things I'm looking for. As I mentioned in some of my previous videos here on the channel, I'll probably link them up here in the corner. I am looking to potentially upgrade my subwoofers this year. Maybe they'll have something in there for that. And I'm also looking to potentially get a power amplifier or just an AVR that has more watts per channel to power my speakers. So we'll look inside and see if they've got any of those here today as well. I would imagine I'm going to have easily over $500 in credit, probably more than that, by the time I get all my trade-ins done today. So yeah, with that, let's take everything inside and see what kind of business we get done. Now, as I wait for my trade-ins to kind of be processed, because I have quite a bit, I said that I was looking for a power amplifier or an AVR to kind of be a glorified power amplifier. That is on my list, and I did find something here I think I'm going to purchase. I'll get to that in a minute. The other thing was subwoofers to maybe replace. I don't really see any of those here. That's probably going to be safe for a later day. But something I was not expecting that is here that I am going to purchase, and I'll show you here what that is in a minute, is an AC3 Laserdisc player. They actually have one here. It's a Pioneer CLD D505 AC3 Laserdisc player. I believe it's actually made for karaoke, but it'll work for what I want. So that is definitely what I'm going to be picking up here today, as well as a few other things that we'll get to at the end of the video. But that was an unexpected surprise, and see it as I'm going to have easily $500 or $600+ in credit. I'm definitely going to pick that Laserdisc player up, and I'm probably going to pick up the amplifier that I want to get for the home theater as well. So I'm also going to check out maybe picking up just a couple Laserdiscs here as well today. But we'll get to everything that I purchased at the end of the video, so stay tuned. So I just got finished up at the Record Exchange. I ended up having like over $600 worth of store credit, and I ended up using majority of that. I have about $125 left over with my purchases. But I'll get into a little more detail on what I bought when I get back to the home theater. But more or less, I bought a Laserdisc player with a couple Laserdiscs, something I wasn't expecting to find here today, and a B&K AVR, more or less just for a power amplifier that I'll talk about a little bit later. But I was in there talking to Gene and Jenna, and I do think we're going to do another collaboration video, probably a little bit later on, late winter, early spring, once things start to melt and get a little bit better around here weather-wise. But yeah, so we're gonna head back home, and then I'm gonna finish up this video in the home theater and talk very briefly about what I bought here today. Okay, so we are back here in the home theater at the end of the day after going to Record Exchange. Now, I did pick up a few items, and I'm going to talk about them very briefly here. I'm not going to go into a whole ton of detail because I plan on making dedicated videos for the two big purchases that I made here today. Now, one of the big purchases I made today was something I was not expecting to find when I went to Record Exchange, and I've already kind of shown it earlier in the video, and that is a Pioneer Laserdisc player. I found a Pioneer CDL D505 at the Record Exchange, and this is an AC3 Laserdisc player, which is something I've really been looking for several years, and it's one of the key things I talked about right at the beginning of this channel when I started this channel a little over a year ago. And I finally found one, and it was a complete shock and a surprise to me. I was not expecting this to be here today at the Record Exchange. And I did spend $175 on it, which is a pretty decent price for this unit. When you find these in working condition, just kind of briefly looking around eBay and places like that, they usually go for like at least $250 in working condition, and sometimes more than that. So to find it for $175 is actually a pretty good deal. And the fact I use store credit on it that I've been kind of hoarding up for like 5.5 years kind of like helped too, that I didn't have to pay anything directly out of pocket. But that is the first major item that I picked up here today, was that Pioneer Laserdisc player, and I am super excited, if you can't tell, to have that finally here in my home theater. Now, of course, going along with that, I had to pick up a couple Laserdiscs because I don't have any. And all the Laserdiscs, unless they're like a specialty box set at Record Exchange, are priced at $8, which is actually a pretty decent price. Some places you go, you can find them a little cheaper. Sometimes they're a little bit more expensive at other places, but $8 is a pretty fair kind of middle ground for most Laserdiscs. Like I said, if you have, say, like the Star Wars set or something that's like a big multi-pack kind of Laserdisc special edition, they might charge a little more. But basically any normal Laserdisc that's not a big box set is $8. And so I had to pick up just a couple of these $8 Laserdiscs just to have here in my home theater because I don't have any. So I needed something to test out this Laserdisc player I bought. So what did I pick up? Well, first I picked up 7 on Laserdisc, the widescreen letterbox edition. And this does have the Dolby AC3 surround sound on it, which was the whole point of these Laserdiscs I picked up, all except one, have AC3 sound, because that's really what I wanted. So first one I picked up, 7 on Laserdisc. The second one that I picked up is the deluxe letterbox edition of Species on Laserdisc as well. This is also a Dolby Digital AC3 mix that's on here. So I am excited to pick this one up and play this as well eventually. I also picked up Stargate on the widescreen presentation. This is also an AC3 Dolby Digital surround sound mix. So I am excited to hear this and see this in my home theater as well once I get everything up and running. And then the last one, this one is not an AC3 Laserdisc, but I thought it was kind of cool and would provide some reference quality material for me here in my home theater to kind of get my feet wet with this Laserdisc player. And that is this specialty promotional Laserdisc sampler from Paramount Pictures that includes 7 chapters of various film clips that range all the way from action segments to romance, drama, and comedy segments. And there's just all kinds of different like films on there. So for $8, I thought this would be a pretty neat pickup, and it'll give me a little bit, of a range of material to kind of just test out on my Laserdisc player once I get it set up here in my home theater. Now that talks about the smaller items and the Laserdisc player I picked up. Now let's very quickly talk about the big boy that I picked up here today, the big item that I got at Record Exchange. I picked up a B&K Audio AVR 307 receiver. This is a big boy receiver that I'm basically going to be using as a glorified power amplifier. I'm going to swap out my Rotel that I have and throw this B&K into my setup. Now, this sucker is huge. It's like almost 70 pounds. It's a big boy receiver. And like I said, I'm getting this just to use as a glorified power amplifier, which is what I've been using my Rotel for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 months since I got my Emotiva processor. And this thing puts out between 150 and 185 watts a channel, depending what ohm speakers you have it set to. It kind of varies in there. But at a minimum at 8 ohm speakers, 150 watts a channel, and that's with every channel driven. So it's a very good, high quality receiver. And while I don't intend on cranking my volume that high to where I'm going to be blowing out eardrums with that, that's just going to allow a lot more headroom so that I don't distort audio, especially now that I have this Laserdisc AC3 player where I can actually get this theatrical audio on some of these discs. I want to be able to actually hear that and feel that and experience that here in my home theater. And having this B&K AVR as a power amplifier is basically what I want. And legitimately, both of these items to me are probably endgame items for me. Now, the Pioneer Laserdisc player could be better. It's not the greatest example of like the mid-90s AC3 Laserdisc players. It's mainly made for karaoke, but it will work for normal, media viewing and listening kind of purposes. But if you were to go and find an actual Pioneer Elite Laserdisc player, it would have a few more features, bells and whistles, that this one doesn't have. Namely, it has no standard digital audio out, so I won't be able to listen to DTS encoded Laserdiscs. I can only do the regular audio or AC3 audio, which is fine because there's only a couple examples that I know of the DTS audio that I would want to listen to, where there's a lot more AC3 audio that I want to listen to. So I'm happy right now to have what I have, once I get it set up. But really, that and the B&K receiver, those guys are going to be endgame level items for me right now. And barring some other major upgrade I want to do down the road, I don't foresee myself getting rid of either of those items. Now, to wrap this video up, I'm going to tear down my entire audio rack and replace items that I'm going to get rid of out of there, namely my Rotel receiver, and swap in my B&K that I bought today. I've also got to get my Laserdisc player, my demodulator set up, and get all that wired in. So the next several videos and things that I do are going to be about these specific items, and probably just updates as I go through and update the audio rack, here in my theater, and just kind of retool some things in there now that I have these new components. So that's really going to be the next big step for me with this home theater, is going to be changing out my audio rack, getting these new components put in, getting rid of the old components. They will be going to Record Exchange. I'm going to trade all that stuff in. I've also been toying around with a few other things here in the home theater that we'll get to in future content. But really, for the next handful of videos, probably for the next couple weeks, next month, give or take, when I have time to do this, it's going to be focused on redoing my AV rack and doing some content talking about this new B&K receiver, and especially talking about finally getting an AC3 Laserdisc player here in my home theater. Old technology in a new home theater, something that I really love talking about and really have wanted to talk about here on my channel. That's the whole reason for this channel to exist, is the whole secondhand philosophy of stuff. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit disjointed, maybe a bit hodgepodge of everything kind of thrown in here, but my trip today went a little bit differently than I anticipated when I found that Laserdisc player, so that we kind of deviated on what I was planning on doing today. But anyways, I hope you enjoy it. If you like this content, and if you are interested to see what's going to transpire here over the next month or so, as I get acquainted with Laserdisc, as I start kind of updating my AV rack with my new receiver and everything like that, definitely consider liking and subscribing. You know, join the channel, watch the journey as we keep going down this road of Laserdisc and some other things here in the secondhand home theater. And with that, I'm going to thank everyone who has watched my content. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you the next time in the next video as we start upgrading to AC3 Laserdisc here on Secondhand Home Theater. Thank you.